May's eyes opened slowly, her blue skin glowing under the harsh light of Orion 7's twin suns. The smell of burning metal filled her nose as she tried to focus on her surroundings. Wreckage from her destroyed lion ship was scattered around her on the barren land. She attempted to move, but pain shot through her body, and her vision blurred. Just as she began to lose consciousness, a figure appeared on the horizon, silhouetted against the strange sky. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow as he approached the crash site. He had been tracking the falling ship for hours, curious about what had broken through Orion 7's atmosphere. As he got closer, he was shocked to see an alien being, beautiful yet unmistakably different. He rushed to her side, using his medical training to check her condition. "Can you hear me?" he asked, but she didn't respond. Her skin was cold, and there was no pulse or breathing. Panicking, Marcus did the only thing he could think of. He kissed her. Instantly, energy surged between them, and Naz's body began to glow softly. Her wounds healed before his eyes, and she took a deep breath. Naz opened her eyes and met Marcus's astonished gaze. "Who are you?" she whispered. "I'm Marcus," he said, still shocked by what had just happened. "I found you after your ship crashed. Are you okay?" Naz slowly sat up, her memories floating back. The sabotage, the crash, and the urgent need to warn Marcus. She grabbed his arm. "I have to warn your people. There's going to be an attack on human colonies." Marcus frowned. "An attack? What are you talking about?" Naz took a deep breath. "I'm Naz, from the Lyra race. A radical faction in my people is against any alliance with humans. They sabotaged my ship to stop me from delivering important information about their plans." Marcus helped her up, thinking quickly. "We need to get you to a communication outpost. My ship isn't far." As they walked, Naz explained more. A group led by a commander named AZDC planned to attack human colonies to start a war and prevent peace between their species. Marcus listened carefully, realizing how serious the situation was. When they reached his ship, a sleek vessel designed for long-range travel, Marcus couldn't help but notice how beautiful Naz looked under the sunlight, her blue skin shimmering and her movements graceful, despite everything she had been through. "We need to hurry," Marcus said as they boarded the ship. "The nearest outpost is light years away, and we don't know how much time we have." Naz nodded. "Thank you, Marcus. I know this is a lot to ask, but the fate of both our peoples depends on this." As Marcus powered up the ship, a rumbling sound caught their attention. Looking out the viewport, they saw a Lion patrol ship descending toward them. "It's AZDC," Naz said, gasping. "He must have tracked my distress signal. We have to leave now." Marcus didn't hesitate. He activated the thrusters, and the ship shot into the sky, leaving a trail of heated air. The Lion ship followed, weapons powering up. "Hold on," Marcus yelled as he pushed the ship to its limits, weaving through the upper atmosphere of Orion 7. Blasts of energy from the pursuing ship lit up the sky, each near miss shaking the ship. When they finally broke free of the planet's gravity, Marcus set a course for an asteroid field, hoping to lose the pursuers in the rocks. Naz gripped her seat, her heart racing. "You're an amazing pilot," she said, her voice filled with admiration. Marcus smiled, despite the tension. "You should see me on a good day." They entered the asteroid field, large chunks of rock and ice flying past them. Marcus expertly maneuvered the ship, dodging collisions, but the larger Lion ship struggled to keep up. Suddenly, a massive asteroid appeared directly in their path. Marcus yanked the controls, but the ship's thrusters sputtered, failing to respond in time. "We're going to hit!" he shouted. Instinctively, Nye placed her hand on Marcus's arm, and a surge of energy flowed through them. The ship's systems suddenly powered up, and it shot forward, barely clearing the asteroid. Marcus stared at Nye in disbelief. "What just happened?" he asked. Nye, equally surprised, replied, "I felt a connection, like our energies combined." There was no time to think about it, as the Lion ship appeared behind the asteroid, preparing to attack. Marcus used the extra power to perform maneuvers that shouldn't have been possible for the ship. With each close call, Nye's touch seemed to enhance the ship's abilities, making them move with incredible speed and grace through the asteroid field. After what felt like hours of intense pursuit, they lost the Lion ship in a dense cluster of asteroids. Marcus set a course for the communication outpost, his heart still racing. "That was amazing," Nye said. "I've never felt anything like it." Marcus nodded, still in shock. It felt like the ship was responding to our instincts. Is this normal for your people? Nye shook her head. No, this is something new. Maybe it has to do with how you revived me on Oron 7. As they traveled through space, Marcus and Nye grew closer, sharing stories of their worlds and cultures. Despite their differences, they found many similarities in their values. They practiced using their new abilities, learning to channel their combined energy to improve the ship's performance. Finally, they reached the communication outpost, a busy station full of different species. As they docked, Marcus felt a sense of sadness, knowing their journey was almost over. Nye sent the warning about the attack to both human and lion authorities, and defense fleets were mobilized. While waiting for instructions, Nye thanked Marcus. I can't thank you enough. You've risked so much to help me. Marcus held her hand, feeling the strange energy between them. We did it together. Whatever this connection is, it's special. Their moment was interrupted by an alarm. The station's security systems detected Lion warships dropping out of hyperspace nearby. It's Aztec, Marcus said. He must have tracked us. They ran back to the docking bay, where chaos had broken out. Ships were trying to escape as the station was hit by weapons fire. We need to get out of here, Marcus said, pulling Nye toward their ship. We can't let Aztec capture us. They boarded quickly, and Marcus launched the ship. As they detached from the station, they saw Aztec's massive flagship leading the attack. We can't outrun it, Nye said, worried. Marcus replied, We don't have to outrun it. We just need to find somewhere to hide. He pushed the ship to its limits, weaving through the debris field as explosions lit up the dark space. Then, Nye spotted something on the scanners. Marcus, look! There's a structure orbiting that star. Marcus changed course, revealing an ancient space station unlike anything they'd seen before. It might be our only chance, he said. They steered toward the station, which was much larger than they had first thought, its surface covered in strange, shifting patterns. As they observed the architecture, Na marveled that it wasn't land or human-made. They had docked in a vast bay, and the station's automated systems were still working, despite being unused for centuries. As they stepped off the ship, an eerie energy filled the air, making Marcus's neck hairs stand on end. We should find the control center, Na suggested. Maybe we can use the station's systems to hide from Aztec sensors. They moved through winding corridors, the walls decorated with detailed murals of beings and events they couldn't understand. The energy grew stronger as they went deeper. Eventually, they reached the central chamber. Holograms activated, filling the room with light and strange symbols. This is amazing, Marcus said, touching one of the displays. As he did, the symbols rearranged, forming readable words. Welcome, descendants. You have awakened the archive of the progenitors. Na and Marcus exchanged confused looks. Progenitors? Na asked. More text appeared. We seeded the galaxy with life, creating the potential for species like yours to evolve. Though our time has passed, our legacy lives on in your genetic code. As they continued reading, they learned the progenitors had encoded the ability for interspecies cooperation into certain species, including humans and Lin. This was meant to encourage unity and allow them to achieve greatness together. This is why we can connect the way we do, Na said, amazed. We carry this ancient legacy in our DNA. Before they could fully process this, alarms blared. Aztec's fleet had found them. We need to leave now, Marcus urged. As they turned to leave, a section of the wall opened to reveal a hangar. Inside was a ship unlike any they had seen. It had sleek lines and a powerful energy core. A final message appeared on the holograms. This ship is for pilots who share the symbiotic bond. Use it wisely, and may it help you in your quest for unity. Without hesitation, Marcus and Na boarded the ship. As soon as they sat down, the neural interface connected their minds to the ship. This is incredible, Na gasped as information flooded her thoughts. Marcus nodded in awe. Let's see what it can do. They launched just as Aztec's fleet attacked. The ancient ship moved with unbelievable speed and agility, responding to their thoughts instantly. Aztec's voice crackled over the comms. Surrender, traitors, or face annihilation. Marcus and Na exchanged determined looks. Not a chance, Na replied firmly. The space around them exploded with energy beams and plasma torpedoes. But the ancient ship dodged effortlessly, its advanced shields absorbing hits that would have destroyed any other vessel. Marcus and Na worked together perfectly, their minds in sync with the ship. They could predict each other's moves and quickly formed strategies. We need to take out Aztec's flagship, Marcus thought. The ship's neural system translated his thoughts into action. Na nodded in agreement, and they dove toward the massive flagship, weaving through the barrage of fire. The ancient ship's weapons activated, releasing beams of white light that cut through Aztec's shields easily. The flagship's engines failed, leaving it helpless in space. Impossible! Aztec's voice echoed with disbelief and anger as their leader was neutralized. The rest of the Lions became disorganized. Some ships retreated, while others fought without coordination, unable to match the ancient ship's power. As the battle ended, Marcus and Na guided their ship back to the space station, where emergency vessels from both the human and Lion authorities arrived to respond to the distress calls. Over the next few hours, Marcus and Na explained everything: the attack plan, their chase through SP space, the discovery of the progenitor station, and the truth about their shared genetic history. Leaders from both species listened in awe, realizing the importance of the information. "This changes everything," the human admiral said, astonished. Zarai, the Lion representative, agreed. "The Radicals' actions have uncovered a truth that could change how we understand galactic history and our place in it." As the immediate crisis passed and plans were made to study the progenitor station, Marcus and Na stood alone, looking at the stars. "What happens now?" Marcus asked. Na smiled, her blue skin glowing in the starlight. "Now, we have a chance to build something new, a true alliance between our peoples based on the connection we share." Marcus took her hand, feeling the energy between them. "It won't be easy. Some will resist change. Then we'll face it together," Na said confidently. "What we've discovered here is bigger than just us. It's a chance to fulfill the progenitor's legacy." Behind them, the ancient ship hummed softly, symbolizing what could be achieved when different species work together. The stars, once a barrier between their peoples, now represented a vast frontier of possibility. In the following weeks, Marcus and Na became symbols of a new era of cooperation between humans and Lions. They traveled to colonies, showing the power of their bond and sharing knowledge from the progenitor archive. There were protests, political struggles, and even threats on their lives, but their connection grew stronger and more people saw the potential of their alliance. Teams studied the data from the progenitor station, unlocking revolutionary technologies in medicine and science. The ancient ship became a symbol of unity, inspiring new ships built for mixed crews. Meanwhile, AIC and his followers faced justice, but their defeat served as a reminder of the dangers of fear and isolation. Months later, Marcus and Na stood on the observation deck of a new joint human-lion space station, the first of its kind. It was the result of their hard work and the start of a new chapter in galactic history. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Na said, gazing at the stars. Marcus nodded, his arm around her waist. "It is, and to think none of this would have happened if your ship hadn't crashed on that remote planet." Na turned to him, her face serious. "Or if you hadn't found me, if you hadn't saved me." Marcus smiled, remembering that moment. "I still can't explain why I did it. It felt like something was guiding me." "Maybe it was the progenitor's legacy calling us," Na said softly. "Whatever it was, I'm grateful for it." As they stood there, a group of mixed human and lion children ran past, laughing. It was a sight that would have seemed impossible just a short time ago. "We've come so far," Marcus said, watching the children. "But there's still so much to do, so much to explore." Na's eyes sparkled. "That's what I wanted to tell you. The Joint Council has approved our proposal for an expedition beyond the known galaxy." Marcus's heart raced at the thought. They had been working on the mission for weeks to explore new frontiers. "Will other species share the progenitor's legacy?" Marcus asked, knowing he would follow wherever it led. "In 2 months," she replied. "We'll be getting the new flagship, the Unity. It's designed based on what we learned from the progenitor ship." Marcus pulled her close, feeling the familiar energy between them. "A whole new adventure. Just the two of us?" Nye laughed, making Marcus's heart skip a beat. "Well, us and a crew of the best from both our species. But yes, we'll lead the way." As they stood, a shooting star streaked across the sky. In many cultures, both human and lion, such a sight was considered a good omen. "Make a wish," Marcus said softly. Nye smiled. I don't need to. Everything I could wish for is right here. The next 2 months were busy. The Unity was a masterpiece of engineering, combining human and lion technology with knowledge from the progenitor archives. Its crew was carefully chosen, with the best minds and open hearts from both species. On launch day, people from both races gathered to see them off, filled with excitement and hope. As Marcus and Nye took their places on the bridge, they shared a look of understanding. Whatever came next, they would face it together, proving that unity and understanding could achieve great things. The Unity's engines powered up, its neural interfaces connecting perfectly with Marcus and Nye. Together, they guided the ship out of dock, its sleek form shining in the light of the nearby star. Heading for the galactic rim, Nye said, steady despite the emotions. Marcus nodded, his hand finding hers. Let's see what's out there. With a burst of energy, the Unity entered faster than light travel, carrying the hopes of 2 united species. As familiar stars gave way to new constellations, Marcus and Nye felt a sense of déjà vu. This time, they weren't running from danger or fighting against the odds. They were explorers, diplomats, and proof that differences could bring people together, not divide them. The Unity raced across the cosmos, a beacon of hope. At its heart, Marcus and Nye, bound by love, destiny, and the progenitor's legacy, were ready for whatever challenges or wonders awaited. As they journeyed, both knew their greatest adventure was just beginning. The unity of their peoples, born from a chance encounter, was now expanding across the galaxy. With each new star system they explored, their bond grew stronger, a symbol of connection beyond species. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months as the Unity explored uncharted space. The crew worked hard, scanning for life and strange phenomena. Marcus and Nye led by example, showing seamless teamwork. One day, while mapping a new sector, the ship's sensors picked up something unusual. Captain, called Lyra, a young lion officer, excited. We're detecting an artificial structure on the 3rd planet. Marcus and Nye exchanged looks of anticipation. This could be what they'd been waiting for, proof of other civilizations. Take us in closer, Marcus ordered, but keep a safe distance. We don't want to seem threatening. As they neared the planet, a sprawling city appeared, with spiraling towers and shimmering domes reflecting the twin suns. It's beautiful, Nye said in awe. Suddenly, a transmission came through the ship's comm system. The language was unfamiliar, but the tone was clearly a greeting. This is it, Marcus said, his heart racing. Our first contact with a new species. The Unity's translation algorithms worked quickly to decipher the language. The Zarai, a mysterious alien species, shared a genetic legacy from the ancient progenitors. As Marcus and N prepared to visit the planet's surface, they felt a sense of déjà vu. Once again, they were stepping into the unknown, representing not only humans, but also lions. Are you ready? Marcus asked N as they stood in the airlock, awaiting clearance to disembark. N smiled, her blue skin glowing with excitement. As long as we're together and ready for anything. The airlock doors opened, revealing a group of tall, slender Zarai officials with iridescent skin and large eyes, full of curiosity. Marcus and N approached, hands clasped together in unity. They felt a surge of energy, different from before. The Zarai reacted, their eyes widening in recognition. One of the Zarai, their leader, extended a hand, mimicking a human handshake. As Marcus and N reached out, a brilliant light enveloped them. In that moment, they experienced a flood of images and emotions, glimpses of the Zarai's history, and a deep, ancient connection. When the light faded, the Zarai leader spoke in perfect understanding. Welcome, kindred spirits. We have been waiting for you for a long time. Marcus and N exchanged looks, feeling a mix of awe and joy. They realized this was the start of a new chapter, not just for them, but for the entire galaxy. As they entered the shining city, Marcus squeezed N's hand. I have a feeling our adventure is far from over. N nodded, her eyes sparkling with promise. I wouldn't have it any other way. Over the next few weeks, Marcus and N learned about the Zarai's history and their search for others connected to the progenitors. The Zarai admired how humans and lions had united despite their differences, seeing Marcus and N as living proof of the progenitors' vision, different species working in harmony. One evening, overlooking the Zarai capital, Marcus turned to N. When I first found you on Orion 7, I never imagined this. N smiled. It's funny how life works. One chance meeting, and the whole galaxy changes. Their conversation was interrupted by Zora, the Zarai leader. I hope I'm not intruding, she said, her voice full of excitement. Not at all, Marcus replied. What's on your mind? Zora revealed a holographic map of the galaxy, showing points of light. These are other progenitor sites we've discovered, some in uncharted space. En leaned in. Some of them form patterns, Marcus noticed, almost like they're pointing to something. Zora's face grew serious. We think they're leading to something big, maybe the progenitor's homeworld or a galactic hub. The possibilities were huge. Zora proposed a joint mission with humans, lions, and Zarai to uncover the secrets of their shared ancestors. Marcus and En exchanged a glance, knowing they couldn't pass this up. We're in, Marcus said, but we'll need to contact our people and get approval for a longer mission. Marcus and NY stood on the balcony, gazing at the alien sky. New stars sparkled with the promise of adventures. Ready to make history again? NY asked playfully. Marcus smiled, pulling her closer. With you by my side, always. The next few months were spent preparing for the grand expedition. The Unity spaceship was upgraded with Zarai technology, making it even more powerful. A diverse crew was assembled, bringing together the best from all three species. On launch day, excitement filled the air. Marcus and NY took their places on the bridge, feeling the weight of their mission. They weren't just explorers anymore, they were pioneers for a new era of cooperation. Systems ready, reported the human officer. Navigation online, said the new alien crew member. NY turned to Marcus, her eyes full of excitement. Shall we? Marcus smiled. Let's make the progenitors proud. They engaged the Unity's engines, leaving orbit and heading toward the unknown. The first few weeks of the journey were a mix of excitement and challenges. The crew, though diverse, had to learn to work together. Marcus and NY's bond helped set an example for the others. Their first discovery came when they approached a large nebula. As they navigated through the cloud, they detected something unusual at its center. Captain, I'm picking up energy readings from progenitor technology, said Trell, the Zarai officer. Marcus leaned in. Can you locate it? There, NY said, highlighting the screen. They saw a massive structure, a station similar to the one they had encountered before, but much larger and more complex. Take us closer, Marcus ordered, but stay at a safe distance. As they approached, the station came to life, emitting a beam of light that enveloped the Unity's shields. It's not an attack, reported the tactical officer. It's scanning us. Suddenly, holographic symbols appeared, swirling around them. They formed a message. Welcome, children of the stars. You have found the path. The message expanded into a map of the galaxy, marking several points, each one a progenitor installation. It's a journey, NY whispered in awe. A series of trials left by the progenitors. Marcus's eyes gleamed with excitement. And we're meant to follow it, to prove we're worthy of their legacy. The crew marveled as new coordinates appeared, showing the next stop on their journey. As they traveled to various progenitor installations across the galaxy, each stop presented new challenges that tested their technology, understanding, and teamwork. They faced ancient defense systems requiring precise coordination, puzzles that could only be solved by combining the unique perspectives of all three species, and simulations that tested their ethical decision-making. Each challenge gave them valuable insights into the progenitors' technology and philosophy, as well as their vision of a galaxy united in peace. However, they also uncovered warnings of threats the progenitors had faced, both external and internal, leading to their downfall. These trials were not just tests, but preparations for the challenges ahead. When they reached what they believed to be the final stop, Marcus and Nay stood together in the Unity's observation deck, gazing at the stars. We've come so far, Nay said softly, leaning against Marcus. Not just on this journey, but since that day on Oran 7. Marcus nodded, wrapping an arm around her. It's hard to believe. Sometimes I wonder if this is a dream. Nay turned to face him, serious. If it is, it's one we're dreaming together, and I never want to wake up. Suddenly, alarms blared and red lights flashed across the observation deck. Bridge to Captain, the voice of the Zarai communications officer crackled. Multiple unidentified vessels on an intercept course, not responding to hails. Marcus and Nay rushed to the bridge, where the main screen showed a swarm of sleek, predatory ships approaching. Report, Marcus ordered, taking his seat. Trell, the science officer, spoke up. These ships don't match any known designs. Their energy signatures are unusual. Nay studied her console, looking concerned. These readings are similar to some progenitor technology, but twisted. Before they could investigate further, the lead ship fired a beam of green energy, hitting the Unity's shields with great force. Shields at 60%, the tactical officer shouted. This weapon is unlike anything we've seen. Marcus gripped his chair. Evasive maneuvers. Return fire, but disable, not destroy. We need answers. The Unity narrowly avoided another barrage of energy beams, and unknown vessels seemed to absorb the hits with little damage. Then, Nay gasped. Marcus, look at this! She pointed to her screen. Their attack patterns are deliberate. They're hurting us. Marcus saw it too. The enemy fleet was steering them toward a specific spot in space. But why? He wondered aloud. What's there? In response, space seemed to ripple and tear, opening a massive portal filled with ominous energy. It's a wormhole, Trell exclaimed. But we can't break free. Marcus and Nay shared a look of determination. Whatever lay beyond that portal, they would face it together. All hands, brace for impact, Marcus shouted as the Unity was pulled into the vortex. The ship shook violently, and systems flickered before they finally passed through. When the screen cleared, they found themselves in a strange part of space, unlike anything they had seen before. Massive structures floated in the void, a mix of organic and mechanical designs. In the distance, a dark star pulsed with a malevolent glow. Where are we? Someone whispered, awe and fear in their voice. Nay checked her console, pale. We're not in our galaxy anymore. This is somewhere else entirely. As the crew processed this shock, a transmission came through, revealing a distorted humanoid face. Welcome, children of the progenitors. The being said, its voice unsettling. We've been waiting a long time for you. Marcus stood, defiant despite his fear. Who are you? Why are we here? The being smiled, or at least seemed to. We are the other children, the ones the progenitors abandoned. And you, dear siblings, have just become part of a game that has been unfolding across ends. As the transmission cut off, Marcus and Nay exchanged a determined they wouldn't back down. No matter the challenges this new threat presented, they would face it together, not just as a couple, but as representatives of three united species. The true test of the progenitor legacy was about to begin, and the fate of their galaxy, and perhaps all of creation, was at stake. Battle stations, Marcus ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. N, work with Trell to analyze this region. Find us a way out. As the crew moved quickly, the enemy fleet that had followed them through the wormhole appeared behind them, but instead of attacking, they surrounded the Unity, trapping them. Naz quickly worked at her console, her mind racing. Marcus, these structures aren't just buildings. They're alive, or at least partly organic, and they're all connected to that dark star. Marcus nodded grimly. Possibly a hive mind, but there's more. The energy signature, it's like a corrupted version of the progenitor technology we've encountered before. Before they could discuss more, the view screen flickered, showing images of war, destruction, and suffering across many worlds. What is this? Marcus demanded, fists clenched. The distorted voice responded, its face hidden. This is the legacy the progenitors didn't want you to see. Failures, experiments gone wrong, civilizations deemed unworthy and abandoned. Naz shook her head. No, that can't be true. The progenitors were about unity, bringing species together. A cold laugh echoed. Unity? Yes, but at what cost? How many were sacrificed in their grand experiment? The images continued. Species altered, planets terraformed with no regard for life. We are the result of their discarded husks, the voice continued, left to evolve in the dark between galaxies. But we survived, adapted, and now we've surpassed them. Marcus stepped forward. Even if what you're showing us is true, it doesn't justify what you're doing now. You're repeating the very cycle of destruction you claim to hate. There was a moment of silence. Then the being reappeared on the screen, offering them a choice. Join us. With your pure progenitor legacy and our evolution, we could reshape reality itself. The offer was tempting but terrifying. Marcus looked around at his crew, seeing their inner conflict. Then he met Naz's eyes, and he knew what they had to do. We refuse, Marcus declared firmly. Whatever mistakes the progenitors made, whatever suffering they caused, we choose to learn from it, not repeat it. We choose unity, understanding, and growth. Nas stood beside him, holding his hand. Our strength comes from our differences, from overcoming challenges together. We won't abandon that for power. The being's face twisted in rage. Then you will share the fate of all who oppose us. Prepare to. Suddenly, the transmission cut off, and the enemy ships faltered, breaking their formation. Captain! Trell shouted excitedly. I'm detecting massive energy surges from the progenitor artifacts we collected. They're activating. Beams of white light shot out from the Unity, connecting with the living structures around them. The dark star pulsed, its dark energy recoiling from the light. It's a fail-safe, Nay realized. The progenitors knew this might happen and left us the tools to fight back. Marcus grinned, feeling hope rise. Let's use them all. Battle stations, everyone. It's time to show these enemies what real Unity can do. As the Unity engaged the enemy fleet, now powered by the progenitor artifacts, Marcus and Nas stood together on the bridge. They'd faced many challenges, but this would be their greatest test yet, the fate of their expedition and countless galaxies hanging in the balance. The crew worked in perfect harmony, their diverse skills becoming their greatest strength. The Unity moved through space, guided by Marcus and Nas, with the added power of the progenitor technology. Beams of purifying light shot out, striking the enemy ships, making them writhe in pain. They're not just ships, Trell called out. They're biomechanical, almost alive. Nas's eyes widened. That's why our weapons were ineffective before. We weren't just fighting ships. We were fighting corrupted life forms. As the battle continued, the Dark Star pulsed more violently, sending out waves of harmful energy that strained the Unity's shields. We can't take much more, the tactical officer shouted. Marcus, determined, turned to Nas. The progenitor artifacts, what if they're not just weapons? What if they're tools of creation? What if we could use them to purify, not destroy? Nas's eyes lit up with understanding. If we can recalibrate the artifacts to emit a purifying wave instead of destructive beams, we might be able to save this realm and the corrupted life forms instead of destroying them, Marcus said. Without another word, they began working. The bridge was filled with activity as the crew, humans, Lan, and Zarai, worked together to modify the progenitor artifacts. Time seemed to slow as they raced against the enemy fleet's attacks in the pulsing Dark Star. Finally, NY looked up, sweat streaking her face, but her eyes burning with determination. It's ready, but Marcus, to create a wave powerful enough to cover the entire realm, we'll need to channel it through the ship itself. It could tear the Unity apart. Marcus understood. This might be a one-way trip. He took a deep breath and turned to the crew. You've all heard the risks. This is no longer just about us, it's about saving countless worlds. If you want to leave, now's your chance. A moment of silence passed. One by one, each crew member chose to stay, united in purpose. Marcus nodded, proud of them. Then let's make history. NY, initiate the purification wave. Nas's fingers moved quickly over the controls, and the ship hummed with power. The progenitor artifacts glowed brightly, their energy flowing through the Unity. The hull groaned under the strain as the wave built up. The enemy attacked harder, but the Unity pushed forward. Now, Marcus shouted. Nas slammed the activation control, and everything went white. A wave of pure energy burst from the Unity, expanding at incredible speed. It swept over the enemy fleet, healing their twisted forms, and over the Dark Star, which exploded in a burst of pure light, bathing the entire realm in brightness. When the wave faded, the Unity's bridge was silent. The view outside had changed completely. Where there was once darkness, now there was light and life. The reformed ships approached the Unity without hostility. A transmission came through, and the face on the screen was no longer distorted, but beautiful and serene. You did it, the being said with wonder. You freed us from the corruption. We remember the pain, the abandonment. It twisted us. Marcus and NY exchanged looks of relief. We're glad we could help, Marcus said. But what now? We have much to atone for, the being said solemnly. But thanks to you, we have the chance. Nod stepped forward. Maybe we can help each other. We've learned so much about the progenitors, and now you remember your true purpose. Together, we could unlock even more knowledge. The being smiled. Yes, that would be a true union, as the progenitors always hoped. As plans were made for cooperation, the Unity, though damaged, would serve as a bridge between the redeemed beings and the united forces of humans, Lan and Zarai. Hours later, Marcus and NY stood alone in the observation deck. The view had transformed into a vibrant, living world. It's beautiful, NY said softly, leaning against Marcus. He wrapped an arm around her. It is. And to think we almost destroyed it all, Marcus said. But we didn't, NY replied, smiling. We chose understanding over destruction, unity over division, just like the progenitors hoped. Marcus smiled. We've come a long way from Orion 7. Sometimes I wonder if it was all chance, or if something else was guiding us. Does it matter? NY asked. I'm just grateful for you, for the crew, for everything we've accomplished. As they stood there, a thought occurred to Marcus. We never finished that Zarai expedition. There are still progenitor installations out there waiting to be discovered. NY's eyes lit up with excitement. And now we have new allies to explore with. Marcus grinned. So, Captain, shall we set a course for our next discovery? NY laughed, making Marcus's heart race. Always, she said, sealing it with a kiss. Back on the bridge, they felt anticipation for what lay ahead. They had overcome impossible odds, united species, and redeemed those lost to darkness. Whatever challenges awaited, they would face them together. The Unity's engines hummed to life, its systems now fused with the purified progenitor technology. The crew, human, Lan, Zarai, and representatives from the redeemed beings stood ready to write the next chapter in their cosmic journey. Marcus sat in the captain's chair, NY beside him. He looked around at the crew, each representing a unique part of the grand tapestry the progenitors had woven across the galaxies. All stations report ready, NY said, her voice filled with excitement. Marcus smiled. Then let's see what's out there. Engage. With a burst of energy, the Unity leaped into the unknown, carrying the hopes and dreams of countless civilizations. Whatever lay ahead, Marcus and NY knew they would face it together, as they always had.